घायल परिंदा है तू, दिखला दे जिंदा है तू, बाकी है तुझ में हौसला। तेरे जुनू के आगे अंबर पनाहे मांगे, कर डाले तू जो फैसला।
रूठी तकदीरें तो क्या, टूटी शमशीरें तो क्या, टूटी शमशीरों से ही हो। कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह रे बंदिया, हर मैदान फतेह।
कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह रे बंदिया, हर मैदान फतेह।
Congratulations, Felicitation, sir. Ace With Ease IAS, the anthropology course with Felicitation, sir.
My association with Felicitation is like for the last 3 years, and he is more like my elder brother.
Ace With Ease IAS by Shiva, inauguration की election, and Shiva I know him by his anthropology notes.
जिंदगी मेरी सब ख्वाहिशां, हार के जिंदगी मेरी सब ख्वाहिशां, मैं पूरी करा। जिंदगी मेरी सब ख्वाहिशां, मैं जीना मैं पूरी तरह, मैं जीना मैं पूरी तरह। सबकी रोक है, टोक है, नोक है, जोक है, पर दिल में फिर भी होप है ना। लाइफ थोड़ी हार्ड है, अनदेखे कार्ड है, पर हम
Hello, hi. నా పేరు షేక్ హబీబుల్లా. I have got All India rank 182 and Civil Services 2022. Converted IPS and I am training in the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel National Police Academy currently. So ఈ రోజు ఇక్కడ Ace With Ease IAS Academy by Shiva inauguration की election, and Shiva I know him by his anthropology notes in Shonia. I personally asked 285 in anthropology. So I have actually referred anthropology చాలా సోర్సెస్ నుంచి, దాని నుంచి నేను చదివాను. వన్ ఆఫ్ ద సోర్స్ నాకు శివ తెలియకుండానే తన మెటీరియల్ ద్వారా నాకు పరిచయం. ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ నాకు తెలిసింది ఏంటంటే ఆ మెటీరియల్కి ఎడిటర్ శివానే. ఐ యాక్చువల్లీ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ రికమెండ్ హిస్ మెంటర్షిప్. అండ్ సెకండ్లీ యాజ్ అ హోల్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ అనేది చాలా మంచి ఆప్షనల్. టేకింగ్ ఇన్ ద టైమ్ టు కవర్ ద సిలబస్ కావచ్చు, లేదంటే స్కోరింగ్ అవ్వచ్చు, లేదా డైవర్సిటీ ఇన్ సబ్జెక్ట్ కావచ్చు, అన్ని పరాలుగా ఐ ఫీల్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ ఈజ్ అ గుడ్ సబ్జెక్ట్ టు ఆప్ట్ ఫర్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఆఫ్ బోత్ బయాలజీ అండ్ నాన్ బయాలజీ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్ in the given competitive sector, competitive field in UPSC, because anthropology actually or any matter optional plays very important role in the selection.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, at the outset, I want to congratulate Felicitation, sir, for his offline launch of Ace With Ease IAS. And more importantly, I want to congratulate on the results of 2023. In his maiden mains program, he has secured 3 selections along with, I think, AI 50, right? So that's a great achievement. I felt really happy listening to that, his success. So I want to keep it short. I have mathematics optional, so I can't speak much on anthropology optional. So, but I want to speak on prelims, which is, I think it's on June 16th, right? So it's approaching like 1 month you guys have. So I have given 4 attempts in UPSC, and I've cleared prelims 4 times, and I've cleared the forest cutoff like 3 times. So, and I mean not to brag, but just to establish credibility. So so I think one formula which I followed was I did 5 things before every prelims, like before every 2-3 months of prelims. So I used to have this 5-point checklist. Doing all these things, I used to feel confident entering that examination hall. First thing is I used to get thorough with my static books, be it your Lakshmikant, your geography, NCRT or NCRT books or Spectrum. So I used to do them twice. And the second thing is I used to take a sectional test series to check how much I have retained from while reading this static textbooks. I used to write around like 20-30 sectional tests just to be thorough with it. And the third thing is I used to supplement them with full-length test series. I used to write around 15 full-length test series so that you get a actual simulation of the exam hall like conditions. And then the most dreadful or fearful part of UPSC, every UPSC aspirant is the current affairs part. Everyone comes up and comes to me and asks, what did you do for current affairs? Where did you read it? So there is no one single source, I would say. So I stick to one source, take whichever source you want or whichever source your mentor guides you. So stick to it, but do it thoroughly. Revise it twice, thrice. And I mean, if something comes from that source, you have to be confident enough to answer it. So I did that. And the fifth and most important thing is the previous year questions. So I used to take up this 25-26 years book and I used to solve them daily morning as soon as I set for studying. So the first 1 hour of my day I used to go through, if I'm studying for quality, I used to do quality PYQs. So that in the sense that it used to anchor me as to in which direction should I be studying that day. So these were my 5 pillars of prelims preparation, and thankfully I sailed through every prelims that I wrote. I know there is an element of luck factor, but this used to reassure me that I've done everything in my capacity, and if I don't get through that day, there are, other factors which have come into play, but this used to make me feel satisfied. So that is my advice for these young aspirants who are going to give prelims. I think this not just applies to UPSC, this also applies to TSPSC. I think the prelims of that is also announced and it's upcoming, right? So I advise you to prepare a strategy and go all in with while giving this exam. I wish you all the best. Do well. Thank you, Shivateja sir, for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Shivamarthi Reddy. I got rank of 132 in UPSC CSE 2022, and I was subsequently allotted to Indian Police Service, currently born on Odisha College. Firstly, I'm happy to be on this stage celebrating this wonderful event and the launch of Ace With Ease IAS, the anthropology course with Shivateja sir. Honestly, this feels surreal because we've seen what kind of a hardworking person Shivateja is. So it's good to be here to support his endeavor. So today, the talk in this small whatever we focus on is the importance of mental health in your general preparation cycle. Because most of us were told since we were a kid itself, we were told UPSC requires 12 to 15, even 16 hours of hard work day in and day out. You just have to be a bookworm, just keep on reading stuff. But I'm a living proof of the contrary. It's not necessary. In fact, I think it's counterproductive if you study that long. Even 10 hours, more than 10 hours, the longer you study, the more riskier you're putting yourself in. Why I say that? Because when I started off, even I like maintained for the long hours, 12 hours, 13 hours a day. I'm just studying. I'm doing nothing else. Not watching any TV shows or movies. Like after 1 or 2 months, I hit a plateau where I couldn't read any longer. Like I just wanted to chill, like just take a break. That break ended up lasting 2 months. I didn't do anything for 2 months. I don't think it's worth it if you study for for 3 months you're just day in day out you're just reading stuff, and then 2 months you're doing nothing. So it's not worth it. So what I would rather suggest is go in a very sort of balanced way. Then what I've adopted after that was every day I would like get up in the morning, read for 2 hours, then just do nothing for another 2 hours after that. Just have breakfast, watch 2 episodes of The Office, and then you go back to reading. Like you read another 3 hours, then lunchtime just have your lunch and watch another 2 episodes of The Office or any other sitcom for that matter. Just have fun. Just ensure you're reading for at least 7 to 9 hours a day. That is more than enough. And Sundays just read for 3 hours and just relax the other time, because you need to understand UPSC is a long battle. Okay, God forbid, it could take more than a year, 2 years, 3 years, and I've seen people taking even longer than 9 years to crack the exam. So I do not wish that on any of you. But still, you have to be prepared for the worst, even if it's a matter of 1 year. The fact that you need to sustain yourself for that long, and again the exam itself, the process will take another year. So if you're not mentally okay, no matter how many number of hours you put in, you won't be doing your best, you won't be giving your best in that time. So do ensure you take good care of your mental health as well. Just take it easy. It doesn't have to be, it's not rocket science. We all know that the most important resource for UPSC, like everyone tells, is the NCRTs. That is enough to tell you that this is no rocket science. Nobody is doing any PhD here. Okay, take it easy. It's more about the mental game. Like my friend Kiran mentioned before me, it's all like how you deal with the exam paper that's right in front of you. How you present your best in those 2 or 3 hours. That's way more important than how much you study. Because none of the questions, at least 70 to 80% of the questions, you'll have no idea about. Like you'll know 1 or 2 options to be eliminated, that too based on some intelligent guessing, or in some rare cases even on hunch. So to develop that common sense, even like in the academy we're told, the most important thing that is expected in an officer, in any civil servant or any government servant for that matter, is common sense. That common sense you need to build from, like of course we all have that, but sadly it's not so common. You build that in your preparation stage itself, so you approach the exam that way. Do not overburden yourself. Take care. Jai. Thank you.
Good evening to all the guests, my batchmates, and each and everyone who is present here, who has taken out time on a weekend and come here to listen to a few of us. So my association with Shivateja is for the last 3 years, and he is more like my elder brother. And I can proudly say that the attempt which I gave this year, I improved my anthropology marks around by 25 marks. And definitely the videos, the workshop that he had taken for Sunya IAS helped me in that. And I was, not only that, last attempt also when I wrote my mains. So it is a general tendency for any aspirant during the 3 months after the prelims period that they panic. Because if you don't have your notes prepared well, or if you feel somewhere has not gone in your way, then you start panicking. And I think in that aspect, right guidance is very much required. So my personal experience is this: when I was giving my first mains in 2020, I was comfortable with my mains, but somewhere in anthropology I had this doubt that I'm not having good opinions in paper 2 as compared to paper 1, and actually that reflected in my scorecard as well. So that was the time where I actually felt that I needed some sort of guidance, because I was thoroughly preparing based on my self-study in Delhi. I had not joined an institute, and it was my own preparation which I was thinking is going in a right way. But in the last 3 months, I panicked. So in the next attempt, the thing which helped me to overcome this was I was much more focused on the notes that I had prepared and some advancement that I had done in the last 2-3 months. And that was the time when I met Shivateja in Delhi. So we were in the same library, we used to study, discuss together, and that discussion helped me in the interview as well. So one thing which I would recommend to all of you is, like, what is there in Delhi is not important. What is actually their offering is more important. So he has been in Delhi. He has been subsequently clearing prelims and multiple times. He has wrote multiple mains. So he's having some sort of experience that other people might not be having. So in this regard, the best guide anyone can have is who has written mains and who knows the ground reality. In this case, it is the reality of the mains examination. Every one of us who is here has invested a lot. There are a lot of stakes that are involved in this examination. A lot of things go into it. For instance, your capital, your age, your family. So when we say that you are preparing for civil services, it is your family parallelly preparing with you for the examination. So indirectly, some sort of pressure also comes into play when you are preparing for this examination. And in this case, or in this regard, when you are preparing for prelims or for, say, mains, you need some sort of hand that can guide you and at least tell you what to prepare and, most importantly, what not to prepare. A lot of material has been loaded in the market, which might not be very fruitful from the perspective of examination. So people like Shiva can actually guide as to what aspects you should focus upon. For instance, this year also, when I was preparing for my mains, I was already in police services. I wanted to upgrade my marks in anthropology in particular. I was talking to Shivateja regularly whenever I used to get time as to which are the topics that he expects might be coming in the examination. Because when you are in the preparation for 4-5 years, you can actually see a pattern that repeats in mains. Prelims is a little bit unpredictable in that aspect, but mains you get to know as to what questions might come in the examination. And there were a lot of concepts in paper 1 as well as paper 2 that he had told me to prepare properly, and they came. Definitely there are some surprise elements will be involved in the examination, but then there are 60 to 70% questions that you can at least gauge. So that was a great help for me, and that is why I believe my score was also pushed. And one thing which I see in Shiva as a person is the trust that you can have in him. A lot of institutes in Delhi, I wanted to join for answer writing. I enrolled in 2 or 3 of them during my last mains also. The one thing that was lacking is the support that they give in the last 1.5 crucial month. So there will be number of students involved, enrolled in their courses. So personal attention is one thing that they might not be able to give it to you when you need it the most. Whereas a person like Shiva, I can guarantee that he will always be available, whether it is for anthropology or for mains or for that matter any topic associated with this examination. So that trust, I can guarantee that he can give it to you. And as I said earlier, he has this wisdom. So when people give so many attempts and they are involved in the process and grinded by it, they are naturally in the tendency to understand things that most of the people who are not able to see. So that is one thing which I think he can differently address as compared to other tutors who are there in the examination. And as I have also studied in Hyderabad during my IIT preparation, I was also staying nearby Ashok Nagar in Narayana, one of the campuses. So that time also I realized that a lot of people are preparing from Hyderabad, just like Delhi. So it is a parallel world, just like ORN in Delhi and Chandra Layout in Bangalore. But huge potential I have seen in a lot of friends of mine who are preparing from Ashok Nagar. So just go through the basics. And coming to one more aspect which I would specifically focus upon at this point of time. As the examination is approaching and it is hardly less than 1 month, so there are few pointers which I would like to stress upon. So if you are preparing for this year's prelims or for that matter next year prelims, kindly focus, as my fellow friend also pointed out, that previous year questions are of utmost importance. In my first attempt, when I went, I was preparing from Delhi. So when I gave my first attempt, the mistake that I did was I solely relied on my knowledge aspect. So I in spite of being from IIT, I believe that my knowledge can help me crack this examination. So I ended up attempting around 78, 77 questions only, because I was focusing only on the knowledge aspect of my preparation. If I know the question, then only I will try to attempt. That was the basic idea. And if the question had slight variation, then that became confusing for me, because I thought it might go in negative, so I did not attempt it. That was one mistake which I did in my first attempt. But in my second attempt, when I got my selection, I had this clarity in my mind that I have to prepare in such a way that I would clear the cutoff of both Indian Forest Service as well as Civil Service examination. So my target was plus 15, which is generally more than the regular cutoff. And the change which I did in this case was, in that particular year, I focused more on previous year question rather than relying too much on the question paper that I studied in the market. So there is a particular way in which UPSC frames their question. There is a language. There is some sort of pattern that they follow. Whereas in institutes, you will see some randomness comes into play when they are preparing their questions. So if you are giving some papers, you might feel that you are getting good marks there. But when you go eventually in the examination hall, you might end up feeling that in spite of going through all the current affair material for the last 1 year and solving a lot of questions, I am still not able to get the right answer in prelims. That happened with me, and that might happen to many of you. So in the last 1 month, try to focus more on the previous year questions. There are some static topics that UPSC keeps on repeating. And there are other examinations that are conducted by UPSC. For instance, EPFO is there, and CDS is there. So in this examination also there are few questions which are coming from geography or history, modern history or polity or economy. So what we can do is, rather than solving all the questions from this examination, we can focus selectively on few subjects from this examination which UPSC is also already conducting. So what happens is, you get a set of questions that UPSC is generally asking in the last few years. So by doing it, you can, I would say, minimize the randomness. So that is one suggestion. Second thing is, don't go in the examination hall with a preconceived notion that I am going to attempt so many questions. For example, many toppers will tell that the examination has become such that you should attempt more than 90 questions or 80 questions. It depends on the type of paper that UPSC is framing. In my second attempt, when I got selection in forest services as well as police services, I had solved 98 questions and I got 132 in prelims. In the next attempt, the paper quality changed and my attempt came from 98 to 93. And this year's question paper, when I saw it in the examination hall, there were many questions which I had left, and I attempted around 85 questions. So there is no fixed formula as per my understanding of the examination. Don't go by that notion that I will attempt 95, 94. Because if you go with that mindset and if you suddenly go in the examination hall and see that some questions are difficult, you might panic. Better strategy is go with a free state of mind. Whenever I used to sit in the examination hall, I used to believe that at least I will be the one from this hall who will get selected. That is what I was very sure of, and I never bothered about the quality of the paper, how many questions. I had this mindset that even if they suddenly change the paper pattern during the exam, and if they ask 150 questions, I will still go with my wisdom and I will solve the paper with utmost sincerity without doubting my abilities. So that was the notion which I used to carry while going in the examination hall. So in the last 1 month, don't run behind too many materials, because practically you will not be able to revise it. There are some static sources that are available, revise it properly. As they have mentioned, NCRTs and a lot of sources are there. But my personal suggestion is, be thorough with previous year questions, because that is your Bible, Quran, Gita, Tripitaka, whatever you want to name it. There are other sources available, but if you are not able to revise it, it's practically of very loose utility, very less utility. That is one suggestion. last year I was mentoring in famous institute in Bangalore, and I had a batch of around 100 students from 4 batch. So I'm telling you from the experience that I had shared with them. Out of the 80 people, almost 24 people cleared prelims, and 11 of them cleared mains. And 2 of my mentees, they are getting into IAS this time. So a lot of things have gone into preparation in the last 4.5 years of my preparation as well. So I have understood few nuances. Maybe I have missed few of them. But even if there are 1,000 seats in this examination, and people might say that there are 1,000 ways of clearing this examination, we have to understand that the 1,000 ways are 1,000, I will say, adaptations made by the students. There is a single possible route, and it is stick to basics, do previous year questions, practice answer writing as much as possible, get the evaluation, and understand where you are weak at. This is the one way which I think is very fixed. How you adapt to these ways, there are different ways to it. Someone might be allocating more time to mains, someone might give more time to GS, and someone might give more time to essay, or for that matter, balance in their own terms. But the one way which I told is, there is a single route. How you adapt, it depends on you. And the last 15 days, once again, don't run behind current affairs a lot, because you might not be able to recall it, particularly about economics and environment, because UPSC has to frame questions in such a way that 10 to 15 questions should be applicable to Indian Forest Service also. So anyhow, they are going to ask 10 to 15 questions from environment. So the major conventions that have happened in the last 1 year, or the major themes that have been recurring in the last few years, keep a clarity on it, keep a tab on it, and I think that will suffice. If you overdo things, then you might get pressurized thinking that I am not able to revise those things itself. And subject-wise, if you go, modern history and ancient India might look very much voluminous, but if you do last 25 years questions that are available on Telegram, I will give the link to Shiva Teja, and he might, at the end of the program, if you give him the number, then I can forward the link. From that group, go theme-wise for all the topics, so this is geography, history, polity, and see where you are lacking. So one way which I used to revise is, if I have 100 questions in a test series, and if I am able to get 50 or 60 in my first attempt, that means 50 or 60 questions are such where I can get them right in the final examination paper also. The 50 questions where I am guessing, I am getting them wrong, or I am ticking it, but again eventually just by the options I am getting it, those were my weaknesses. So eventually, net if you see at the paper, 50 questions are your strengths, 50 questions are your weaknesses. What you have to do is, if you are giving 10 to 15 papers, in every paper you have set 50 questions. Revise those questions first. So I used to just use a different ink for this paper. The questions where I was not sure, I used to use a red pen, and questions where I was very sure, I used to use a blue pen. So by doing it, I realized that some questions are there where I am repeatedly committing a mistake. So again, if you are using Telegram, then you can join the group. Using 2 accounts. If you have 2 numbers, create 2 accounts, join the group 2 times, solve the question 2 times. You will eventually realize that there are some themes or some questions where you are committing the same mistakes again for the second time also. And if you are doing it, that means that particular theme is not clear in your mind itself. So when you are revising, focus on those things where you might commit a mistake in the examination hall. So this is a better way or effective way of revising, which helped me, and that helped me get the cutoff. I used to always clear the cutoff in prelims. So I think this formula always used to work for me. And as I told earlier, you can actually rely on Shiva Teja as a guide, because I have seen him, he has been my guide also. Apart from this, if you have any doubt, we'll be sitting here, you can ask us at the end of the session. So once again, thank you for listening, and thank you for listening.
So, good morning one and all. Good morning or good evening? Test చేస్తాను మిమ్మల్ని పడుకుంటాం వెళ్ళిపోతున్నాను. So how is the Josh? గట్టిగా ఇక్కడ వస్తే ఢిల్లీ వరకు వినిపించాలి. హౌ ఇస్ ద జోష్? సో కమింగ్ టు మై జర్నీ, నేను 2017లో ప్రాసెస్ స్టార్ట్ చేశాను. సో ఆఫ్టర్ 5 years ఆఫ్ మై UPSC జర్నీ, ఐ క్లియర్ దిస్ ఎగ్జామ్ ఇన్ 2022. And coming to my options, political science and international relations. So, first thing, under aspirants నేను చెప్పాల్సింది ఏంటంటే, see, exam, first you have to understand the pattern of the exam. Exam అనేది చాలా డైనమిక్ అవుతుంది year on year. So first thing you have to understand the pattern of the exam. So to understand the pattern of the exam, 2 principles ఉంటాయి. First ఏంటంటే you have to go through syllabus. Syllabus లో ఏముంది అది పర్టికులర్గా చూడండి, దాన్ని చదవండి. That's the first thing. Second thing ఏంటంటే to understand the nature of the questions, you have to know, you have to go through the previous year questions. So previous year questions తెలిస్తే మీకు 2 advantages ఉంటాయి. సో ఏంటంటే ఎంతవరకు చదవాలి, ఎక్కడ వరకు చదవాలి అనేది ఒకటి. ఇంకోటి, సో దట్ మీకు కనుక ప్రాపర్ సిలబస్ మీద అండ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ మీద కనుక గ్రిప్ ఉంటే మీ సోర్సెస్ని మీరు లిమిట్ చేసుకోవచ్చు. వెన్ యూ లిమిట్ యువర్ సోర్సెస్, మీరు ఎక్కువ చదవాల్సిన అవసరం ఉండదు. లిమిటెడ్ సోర్సెస్లో ఎక్కువ సార్లు తక్కువ కంటెంట్ చదివి చాలా తొందరగా క్లియర్ చేయొచ్చు. అండ్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్ ఏంటంటే ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ మాక్ టెస్ట్. సో ఎన్ని నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ మాక్ టెస్ట్ రాస్తే అంత అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఉంటుంది. సో యూ నో ది గ్రాఫ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఎగ్జామ్, అసలు మీరు మీ సైకాలజీ ఎట్లా వర్క్ చేస్తుంది, మీకు ఎంతవరకు గుర్తుంటుంది ఎగ్జామ్లో, మీ కాన్సెప్ట్ క్లియర్ ఉన్నాయా లేదా అవన్నీ మీకు తెలుసుకోవచ్చు. అండ్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్, దట్స్ ఇట్ ఫ్రమ్ మై సైడ్. సో ఆల్ ద వెరీ బెస్ట్, డూ వెల్.